Hey guys, Dave from Nerdarchy, four nerds, by nerds, hang out with this nerd.
Ted,
Today we're going to talk about how to play Harry Potter using Dungeons and Dragons, well, and other games as well.
jump down the description below where you can sign up for Nerdarchy the newsletter, get weekly gaming tips, as well as learn how to game with Nerdarchy.
So this video is kind of spawned by a Facebook message that we received, and this person wanted help with building out like a Harry Potter game, and he was talking about he didn't feel like Fifth Edition was going to have the depth and scope, and the other problem being that he felt like in Harry Potter there wasn't enough spells.
Okay. So you're talking about running a thematic game like Harry Potter, but using D&D.
Using D&D, or it doesn't really matter any system really if you think about it. So here's the thing, right? I think people focus on things that don't matter as much,
Mm-hmm.
like the mechanics, right?
Okay.
Like if that's your concern, like you can kind of just throw that out and go, okay, well you can reflavor stuff. In the instance of, or making the mechanics work towards what that game is. Like, let's use the Harry Potter, just an example, right?
Right.
And you're much more knowledgeable in Harry Potter than I am. But so there's not a lot of spells in Harry Potter compared to like D&D.
Yeah, if you try to compare the two, D&D has much more. But if you look at all of the books that are out there, I'm certain that there is a list someone has compiled that has all the spells that were used. And if you want to take what's there and go even further, literally there's a moment where a character waves his wand and a magic hand fuses to the guy's arm. It's possible to do just about anything in that world. You just have to know how to do it. So I would say Harry Potter, if given time, has more options than what's in the player's handbook.
Okay. So that's a little bit over like specifying and thinking about it. And you can always reflavor spells too. They'll look
Yes.
different.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Mechanically they can be with whatever they are, but then they can look different, so it doesn't really matter that much.
Mm-hmm.
And then like my other thought was, well, like with my limited knowledge of Harry Potter, there's a bunch of like pseudo magic items that are in Harry Potter,
Okay.
like potions and
Mm-hmm.
candy and stuff like that, that could literally just be an extension of spellcasting.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to, like, it doesn't have to be exactly the thing to be thematic and stay with the theme of the world.
Right. I would completely agree with that. You could have them either be spells or they could be consumables that are just new options that aren't out there. There's probably going to be some spoilers in this video, so if you haven't gotten up to speed on Harry Potter, I don't know what your hold up is, but
Like Hermione, right?
Mhm.
Wasn't she using basically the time thing? Like, what was a potion?
no, it was a time turner. It was a necklace, and
Uh-huh.
literally allowed her to go back through time.
So that could literally just be like a time stop spell, and the necklace is literally the focus, right? So instead of focusing on exactly how they did it, right?
Mm.
The how, think about what happened, right? And well, how can we make this
Mhm.
happen? Or, instead of thinking of potions as a consumable, no, they're not. They're just spell components that you're using on the fly or you pre-prepared.
Right.
And, sure, like the somatic is you drinking the
Mhm.
potion, the components are already there, but then the effect takes effect, whatever that is. Like, so you don't have to create this extra stuff. You don't. When we played the Underdark game, there's no alchemist in 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons, but
Right.
the one player wanted to play an alchemist. And I'm like, well, you just play a wizard and we can just say your spell components and your somatics are you mixing potions,
Mhm.
and then whatever, either drinking it, throwing it, whatever is going to be the effect.
Right.
It could literally be, oh, invisibility. Okay, it's you pull some stuff out, throw it in a vial, and drink it. Oh, you cast at a higher level, you pass the potion around.
Right.
So
So there are a number of different goods and bads with that. Number one, depending upon how you're leveling your game, Hermione had access to the time turner at a very early stage in what one would say would be a character's level base, and having access to a ninth level spell doesn't necessarily work with that. But I wouldn't see it being an issue with that being a magic item that had limited use and
yeah, but
the
you're just trying to play in the world of Harry Potter. You're
right.
you're thinking too specific. You're like, oh, we have to recreate. Like you're thinking like that guy. you need to think not like that, but think about, okay, what is the feel, what is the flavor of playing Harry Potter? How many people did that?
True. Oh, just one.
One, right?
Yeah.
One. So that's an exception to the rule.
Right.
It's not happening all the time, so it doesn't matter.
Right.
So most of and here's the thing, right? The main characters in the series, in the Harry Potter series, are all kind of like badass for what it is, right?
That's true. Yeah.
They're better than your run of the mill students. So you could be like the supporting characters that you're playing. Not that you're the supporting characters in the story,
Mhm.
but you're more at their level, so you don't
Right.
have to think about it. What you have to think about is, can you squeeze, your Hagrids in and your Snapes in and your Dumbledores or whatever his name is,
Dumbledore.
Dumbledore, into it and make it feel like that world. That's the important thing. Can you have the bank and can you have the marketplace? You can do all those things. And literally, I don't feel like a D&D character in this case is going to be able to not do stuff that was being done in that movie. Maybe not at the same level at the same time, but at some point or another, like, you can make it happen.
So a couple things that I would throw in there. Number one, if you're going to do this, you're going to have everyone be some kind of full caster, and everybody has to have their typical focus. And for this world, that's going to be your wand. And you break the rules whether you're playing a cleric, druid, bard, wizard, sorcerer. Your focus is your wand, across the board. Everybody's got the same. But having access to everyone being a caster changes things. I would then look at as your character, or as the theme of the game. Are you wanting to play as adults and start off at a higher level game, or are you trying to run a game where the players are starting off at Hogwarts and you're running it at the school? Because I think that's completely two different games.
Yeah, so they're like this is was talking about running it at the school.
So running it at the school, okay, you've got to deal with the mindset of younger children and having access to that. So I wouldn't want to be overburdened with choice. Literally look at what's on the sheet, and what you have access to is what you have access to. And you can go and play, and I think you could do a lot with it. And you have that easy, schedule of, well, you need to go to your classes, and you've got the teachers that are doing these things. So your adventures are really going to be outside those normal times, and there's going to be RPing at your conscripted time frames when you've got a class or a gathering or a meeting or whatever have you.
Like, the only place I would do any tweaking for this, like, I think this can fit into D&D really easy.
I do as well.
Is the only place I would really tweak is backgrounds. Right, I might change some of them. Like, you're not going to need soldiers. The hermit isn't going to make sense. Noble still works. Urchin kind of works. But then you might make some up. Like, you might make up jock or Quidditch player or something like that, or a generic student one, which is most people. And that could be easily just modifying sage or acolyte.
Right. You could modify soldier to be your Quidditch player.
Oh, that's true.
So,
Yeah.
So as opposed to,
You could just, instead of making, you can make it like variants,
right.
which will work.
Guild artisan could literally be your artists. And anyone who really likes doing crafty stuff. Urchin could literally be your Muggleborns. And that's why
Mudbloods.
Mudblood's the offensive term.
Oh, whatever.
But Muggle, not Muggles, but the ones who are born, from, or the ones who come from non-wizarding families is what I meant to say.
That could even, that could, like, well, you said urchin, but yeah, that could literally just be a variant on urchin.
Yeah, and that would give those, especially with that belief that, oh well, there's a reason I'm looking down on you. So I don't know. I think that could work, and as long as you plan your adventures according, I think this could be a really cool game.
Yeah, it's all about telling, like, the specific type of story and staying with the tropes and themes, and, like, if you wanted to go with older characters, like, there's definitely room for that as well. So you could literally you could start off with these characters in Hogwarts and advance them all the way through and into the into the adult world in essence, right? And because there's definitely things like Fantastic Beasts. I don't know what other novels are out there in the Harry Potter world, but there was definitely like the Ministry of Defense and the Ministry, different ministries. So there's plenty of like things going on, and there's this mixing of the real world.
Yeah, there's the Ministry of Magic and all the different departments that are therein, and you could literally, it's like, okay, you plan the characters, you train them up to be RRs, Dark Wizard fighters, and then after they get their jobs and they succeed at their tests to become an RR, which are incredibly difficult. And actually, I'm in the middle of reading reading book 5 to my son, and in the beginning of that book, Nymphadora Tonks talks to Harry about the tasks that she had to do to become an RR. So you could look at that and be like, all right, well,
That's it. They're all adventures.
those are adventures. And by the time you become an RR, you're already 10th, 11th, 12th level. So now you can go out and fight the Dark Wizards, Voldemort supporters and Death Eaters and the like. And by the time you go and fight whoever the Voldemort of your world is, you're 20th level, and that's the end of your campaign. Like, it's literally, completely and utterly doable. I think it sounds like a blast.
Yeah, so I mean, we talked more, kind of specifically about Harry Potter, but you can use the same principles for any kind of game. It's really just dissecting like, what does it mean to play in that world, and and how do I do that? Now, D&D might not be the best system for that particular game or world. It just so happens, I believe, this is one of the one times that I'm like, actually D&D can work for this fairly well. I mean, there's other systems like Cypher System out there, Open Legend RPG. There's tons of generic systems that you could use that would work.
Yeah.
Or if it happens to be a game you want to play like Star Wars, when like the stupidest thing to me is like, how do I play Star Wars with D&D? Go get the Star Wars game. That's how you play Star Wars with the D&D game. You don't. Why would you bother? So like professionals went out and created the game you want to play. Go play it.
Yeah, so like if there's already a game out there for what's there, absolutely go do that. Be it Star Wars, Starfinder, they're games that are created. Dave mentioned Cypher System and Open Legend RPG are great systems for non-specific themes. You could also look at Fate Core. That's or even Fate Accelerated could help you out. I think they're generic enough that you could literally do whatever you wanted with them.
And Mutants and Masterminds is another one that has a lot of flexibility as well.
Mutants and Mastermind has a lot of flexibility. I think Mutants and Mastermind is too complex, too many options for a Harry Potter game, but for other types of games, absolutely.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Well, it all depends. It'd be a lot of work, like constructing the archetypes, but after it was done, it would be fairly easy, I think.
Okay, you
up front, a lot of work, and maintenance, nothing.
Yeah, I agree.
And it also would have the thing of the characters kind of changing very slowly.
Mm-hmm.
So that part would be easy. Like there's rules for magic in there as well as other stuff. So and I think it would be easier to make different characters.
Yeah.
Even though you're using the same rule system and they're all kind of like very similar.
Because you could be like, all right, well, I'm going to focus more on this type of magic, and you're going to focus more on that type of magic. It's very, very easy without how complex a system Mutants Masterminds is.
Yeah. So there's tons of options for playing, whether it's Harry Potter or whether it's something else, Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, right? There's tons of systems out there you can use it. But the key isn't the system. It's going to be, well, what is the essence of this world? What is the theme? What is the trope? How do I make it feel like that? It's not really gonna be about the mechanics. It's gonna be about the stories you tell and staying true to the source material.
Yeah, if you literally break down, 3 to 7 components of what does it take to play this thematic game, and then say, all right, well, what rule system is going to allow me to incorporate those themes, those ideas easily into my game without giving the players a headache every single time they need to figure out what they have to do. I think that's going to be your ease in to allowing you to make a game of any kind of theme.
Right, and that's the assessment. First figure out the things about the game you want to play. Then you can see what kind of matches up the best.
And as a little, side note, footnote to this thing, If you're going to play a heavily themed game, I would absolutely talk to your players and make sure everybody is on board, because like I guarantee you, if I broach the subject of who wants to play a Harry Potter game at my table, I'm certain that there'd be some people who would jump up and down saying yes, absolutely, and other people who'd be like, yeah, no, I have no desire to go play a kid going through school. It doesn't sound like much fun to me.
Well, there are plenty of tropes like that, like Hero Kid and
Oh, yeah.
Hero High, Mutants, Masterminds. But again, I digress. There's a tons of different ways to do it. You guys in the comments below, let us know about what games what games have you converted to different worlds. What are you doing in your games? While you're at it, like, share, and subscribe.
You can support us over on Patreon.
So until next time,
Stay nerdy.